Thank you very much indeed, and I'm very pleased to be with you. I learned a lot from you, from your different techniques. My talk will be a little bit of a different nature, of course, less technical, but more about the regulatory approach that we have in the EU. I will present you in broad terms what we do in my unit, and then my colleague Simon will follow with a more technical dive into what we do. But importantly, I will also show the link of your work to our work, which is, I think, very important. So in a nutshell, you develop risk models, evaluations, interpretability tools, a number of practices that you demonstrate here in all these papers and talks. But of course, what the companies, the AI providers do with this is left to their goodwill so far in a way, so they can make use or not of your innovations and what you discover. We have the means with the Act in the EU and with the Code of Practice to push the companies to use the state of the art in evaluation and assessing the risk of their models. So the link between our work is there. We have the legal means and the enforcement power soon in August to make sure that the best of your work can be taken up by the AI providers. So my team is indeed focusing on the GPAI models with systemic risk, so the most advanced and capable models which are provided by the providers. And our goal is that the risks are assessed properly. That's where needed. When some thresholds are reached, that's the mitigation measures are put in place by the providers. So we want to reduce the large-scale risks of these models. And for this, the AI Act does include a number of obligations in that regard, in particular in Article 55 of the AI Act. And we have last year, as you probably know, developed the GPAI Code of Practice, which is the guide to compliance with these rules from the AI Act. And we are now in dialogue with most of the providers to discuss how they are approaching this code of practice, what is their practices, and what they intend to do. Starting in August this year, we'll have also enforcement powers, meaning that we will keep the structural dialogue that we have with the AI providers, but if needed and where appropriate, we can also go one step further and make formal information requests, access to models, and where necessary, corrective measures, and up to fines if they don't comply with the rules. So that's where we are, and the code of practice itself. A few 2-3 slides about it. You probably know it. It is composed of 3 chapters: transparency, copyright, safety, and security. My team is mostly dealing with the safety and security part. It was published in July last year, and it was signed quite quickly by more than 25 companies, including all most of the most advanced AI providers. You see some names here. And importantly, this code of practice was not developed by the AI office as such. We helped the process, but it was developed by independent AI experts. It involved up to 1,000 stakeholders, so it was a very big process. Researchers, industry, civil society, member states, and even international also observers. In a nutshell, what does it contain, this code of practice? So the safety and security framework, it is the kind of overall documents that the providers need to show to us in terms of what the processes they have in place, the measures they have for risk assessments, and the mitigations. The risks that they have to assess are categorized in 4 categories that you know well: the CBRN, cyber offense, loss of control, harmful manipulation. There is also an open-ended identification risk box for anything that is discovered with new capabilities. The providers have to do a risk analysis in these risk categories. They also have to determine a risk acceptance level. And then in terms of mitigation, they have to put in place safeguards which make sure that the risks are below the acceptable level. When they place a specific model on the market, they need to do a specific model report. So the framework is the overall things they have in place, but for each model, they need to provide a specific model reports, which is targeted to the specific capabilities and risks of that model. Importantly, and to relate to what you do, the code of practice does not fix the things in 25 kind of state of the art, but it refers to state of the art precisely to cope with the evolution of both the AI, the models capabilities, but also your work on research and on AI safety. So in some places of the code, you see in the context of the framework, in the context of the model evaluations and the systemic risk modeling, every time it refers to state of the art, meaning that providers have to comply with the most recent and the best practices in those fields. So that's where your work comes into play, because things are also drawn from what you are delivering in that respect. So that's what you can do: advance and document the best practices, state of the art. And it's for us to make sure that the providers do use that when they engage with us on their compliance with the AI Act and the Code of Practice. So we are very happy to be in direct contact with you and to be beyond all the conferences and the workshop, to have contacts with the community. We are very much keen on being up to date ourselves, so that we can interact efficiently with the providers on that. And I would like to finish my intervention with one additional thing, which is something some of you might have heard. The EU has launched recently what we call a Frontier AI initiative, and this is an initiative which is aimed at putting Europe closer to the frontier. We would like to pick up on the best brains and the most informed brains regarding frontier AI, and to reflect on what should we do to increase the position of Europe in frontier AI, and to be less dependent, of course, on others. It is something absolutely strategic. We want to put in place strategic actions which really matter and which will really make a difference. So we have this call for to participate in an expert forum that we have launched mid-February. The deadline for applying is 12th of March. So I encourage you to have a look at what we are looking for in terms of expertise, but also you can disseminate this further around you, because we really want to develop something which makes the difference and which really brings back Europe in a better position in this field. Thank you very much. Now I will leave the floor to Simon for a more technical deep dive into what we are doing in terms of risk assessments. Thank you very much.